know if we went out or just mom and dad went out to the forest and cut down the Christmas tree.
Yeah, I think
and
so.
then when we brought it home, we decorated it, but then it was like infested with bugs.
That wasn't a good tree.
That wasn't a good tree.
One of the things I love about Christmas, Candace, is it gives us a chance to catch up. I mean,
Yeah.
we live close together in Los Angeles, but we're so busy, and our kids are grown, and we don't get to see family and friends as often. But things like Christmas bring us together, and it's a great time to catch up. I thought it would be fun if we opened up some presents that I'm gonna call gifts from the Cameron Christmas past.
Ooh, okay.
And talk about what these special, significant gifts are for us as kids.
Okay.
All right, you've got the first one. It's right over there in the box.
Oh, it's a Christmas tree. I have so many stories of Christmas trees growing up.
Yep.
Do you remember the one year actually that I don't know if we went out or just mom and dad went out to the forest and cut down the Christmas tree?
Yeah, I think
and
so.
then when we brought it home, we decorated it, but then it was like infested with bugs.
That wasn't a good tree.
That wasn't a good tree. And then I think my favorite tree though was from Grandma Jean and Pop-Pop.
That's what I was hoping you'd remember.
Yeah. So they had this tree in their house that was like, it snowed. So the flocking in the snow would come down on the tree, and there was like a big
basin at the bottom.
A big basin at the bottom, and then it would catch it, but then it would kind of suck it up in a vacuum right through the center of the tree, and then the snow would keep flowing out.
I loved that tree. It was our favorite Christmas tree ever, and I haven't been able to find one since. All right, here's another one. I'm going to open this one. All right, does this remind you of anything? These bears, these big bears.
Yeah, that reminds me of all of our Christmases in Big Bear.
That's right.
Big Bear, California. So we had a home there.
And here we are in California, and you think of the beach and mountains and surfing, but here it was snowing. There was a big lake in front of the house, and we would go up there to go on the Alpine slide, remember? Which would be this slide that would go down this snowy mountain. But that house was a gathering place for all of our friends and family, and we had so many adventures and great Christmases there.
We did. So many people. That's what I remember most, is because it was always so full in there. Aunts, uncles, cousins, friends from all over. Even some over the years, even some families from Make-A-Wish. We had some special people that would come up, and it was just like a revolving door. Everyone would be up there, and we kind of all pick a day to go skiing, and mom would stay back with some of the other ladies, and they'd be cooking dinner.
Do you remember the time when Mom rescued your dog? Mom rescued your dog in the lake. The lake was like freezing, almost frozen over, and your dog got caught out in the water because she loved the water.
She did. There was something she got tangled in, and Mom, freezing and all, she was just like, I'm going, I'm gonna.
Yeah, that was Mom.
That was Mom. She ran in and she rescued her. Yeah.
Okay, you've got another gift back there.
Oh.
This is a present that should remind you of a very special Christmas.
Aw. It's a meager little tree.
That's right. That's a Charlie Brown Christmas tree.
It's a Charlie Brown Christmas tree. And we had a Charlie Brown Christmas tree one year in Big Bear.
Yep.
It wasn't in our home, because at that time we didn't have a home yet. We had, I think, rented.
We rented it from Tracy Gold, who played Carol on Growing Pains, my little sister.
Yeah.
And it was her house, her family's house.
Yeah. So we actually, I believe it was Christmas Eve, and we'd only gotten up there the day before. And so on Christmas Eve, we drove to the tree lot thinking, oh, we'll just get a tree.
Yeah, because we didn't have a tree yet.
And it was closed. There were no trees. It was like, who's buying a tree on Christmas Eve? And it was so disappointing. And there were a lot of us there. And I remember with cousin Megan, and a couple other of us, we went and we just got the branches from the pine trees that were laying on the ground, and we gathered as many branches and sticks and pine cones as we could. And we taped the branches on the wall. And then we just like stuck some popcorn on them so we could decorate it. And we had this Charlie Brown Christmas tree.
Isn't that great though, that you don't have to have this great, big, beautiful Christmas tree in order for it to be special? These are the kinds of things that I don't even remember the great, big, great Christmas trees.
Yeah.
We remember the Charlie Brown tree.
Yeah. It's so cute.
All right, check this out.
You have another one?
We have, well, it's right here. It's the nativity. And
yeah.
I don't know if you remember this, but we had a nativity in our house every year. Mom would put the nativity and the baby Jesus under the tree or on the mantle every year. And she would say, oh, this is baby Jesus. This is what Christmas is about. But I don't think we ever really understood it. We didn't really go to church as a family. We didn't talk about God. And it just seemed like this mysterious religious part of Christmas to me, but I never knew what it meant.
Yeah.
What was it like
either.
to you when you were little?
I'm trying to think because I kind of vaguely remember the nativity being out, but even if I can kind of think about it in my memory, I didn't know what it was about. I didn't give it much thought. I'm kind of like, yeah, I guess maybe there was one out, but it was definitely not the focus.
Out of the focus.
Yeah.
And now I think, my goodness, this is
that's
everything.
the whole reason.
In fact, my nativity in our house is up all year long. It's on a shelf in the kitchen just because, I don't know, I feel like of everything that I want to have as a decoration, I want to remember that here's this little baby who was born to die. From that eternal perspective, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit knew that that was the plan. From the moment he enters into the story, he is a baby born to die, and King Herod was all out to kill him. He had all the young boys murdered in an attempt to kill him, but God preserved him so that he would die at the right time so that the rest of us could live. And one pastor pointed out to me that the word manger is a French word. And you think about Jesus was born in a trough, in a manger. And then later he says that I am the bread of life.
Yeah.
That if we eat of the bread of life, we won't ever be hungry again and we'll never die. You think, wow, that stuff is just mind-blowing.
Yep.
And you think like, wow, God had all of that packed into the Christmas story from before the foundation of the world, and we get to discover it all now in fresh new ways every single year.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about favorite memories of Christmas gifts. You go first.
Okay, my favorite, gift as a kid was hands down my pink bicycle. My first pink bike. I learned to ride a bike, and it was little. It had I'm pretty sure it had white streamers on it and a little white basket in the front. And our street that we grew up on was a very slight little hill. It felt huge though.
Yeah, it did.
So I went up to the top of that. Dad helped me learn to ride the bike, or maybe it was Mom. I'm not sure, but I think it was Mom. I remember like someone finally letting go.
Yeah.
I was like, you can let go, you can let go. And they're like, I already did. And I was like, I'm doing it. Oh, it's the best.
I remember that hill because I went down that same hill on my little yellow skateboard that I got for Christmas one year. And I think it was you riding the bike. No, it was Bridget. She was riding the bike in front and I was holding onto a rope tied to the back of the bike. So she was going extra fast and she went off the jump that we built in front of the house. And I was on the skateboard. I hit the plywood. I fell off and I broke my arm.
I remember.
You remember that?
Yep, I remember that.
Little hill, but it felt huge back then. One of my favorite Christmas presents was, more than anything, I wanted a surfboard because Uncle Frankie would take us to the beach and I'd always body surf with Dad, but I wanted to get on a surfboard and be cool like Uncle Frank. And one year we went out and by the Christmas tree, wrapped up was a giant red surfboard. Aww. And I was so excited about this because I was from California. I had to be able to surf. And Frankie would teach us how to surf in Grandma and Grandpa's swimming pool. He tied a string to the front of the surfboard, like where the leash was. In the deep end, I would lay on the board and then he would pull the surfboard as fast as he could across the pool to the shallow end. And by the time we got to the other end, I had to like pop up and get into my surfing stance.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and that's how I learned how to, surf.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't realize that.
Okay, how about the gift of Mom's Christmas cookies?
Oh, that's the best gift of all.
Everybody wanted that gift.
Yeah, still today.
Everybody still wants that.
Yeah.
Those gifts. And when we would go to the set at Christmas time on Growing Pains or Full House or anything that we did, Mom would always bring a giant basket of cookies. She'd spend all day the day before, maybe 2 days, and have like 200 cookies.
Yes.
300 cookies.
And Mom's cookies are so thin. They're chocolate chip lace cookies. So they don't compare to those.
No, these are sad representations of chocolate chip cookies. Mom's, you could fit 10 cookies in the width of that cookie. Hers were so thin.
Maybe not 10.
Okay.
Maybe 2 or 3. They're so thin. It is a secret recipe. Still, I have it. I know it.
You have the recipe?
And Melissa and Bridget, our sisters, know it. Yeah, I make them.
Yeah, you make them.
I make them. Not as good as Mom.
Well,
no one makes them like Mom, but man, everyone, I used to make them when we lived in Florida for 10 years, and I would give the gift of cookies to all my neighbors. So the first year it was kind of like, oh, thanks, you know, a little tin of these funny little thin looking cookies. And then the next year it was like, when are the cookies coming? Right. You're making the cookies, right?
Oh, it's a huge disappointment if Mom doesn't make her cookies.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure. How about favorite Christmas traditions? I know you guys have some at your house. We have some at our house. I'll go first with one of my favorites. One of the things I like to do is every Christmas morning, since the kids were little, we would send them up the stairs where the boys were, and they had to sit on the stairs where they couldn't see the Christmas tree because it was around the corner, past the kitchen, into the living room. And that was when Chelsea was getting the lights all set up and everything. And I would always walk over to the bottom of the stairs. I'd look up at all 6 of our kids sitting there so excited. And with this sad, sad face, I would say, well, kids, I have some bad news for you. Santa's very busy. He has lots of children to make toys for, and we can't blame him if he misses a house here and there. He's been so good to us in the past. We just need to be thankful, even if all we get is one present this year. And I would say the same thing every single year. And they still sit on the stairs. We still take the same picture with the same hot chocolate mug, and I tell them the same sad story every single year.
That's so funny. I love that.
How about you?
Val, my husband, is such a good chef. I mean, he is such a good cook.
Amazing.
He's amazing. And more than just the grill and the barbecue. Like, he could open a restaurant and be a head chef. So one year he made beef Wellington a long time ago, and that has just become the staple for our Christmas Eve dinners.
Wait a minute. He makes beef Wellington?
Yeah.
I've tried to make beef Wellington. That's not easy.
It's not.
I need to have some of this beef Wellington.
It's so good. It's so good. And then usually, mashed potatoes and all the things that go along with it. But
cream and peppercorns and shallots and filet mignon and puff pastry. I know what it is.
With the mushrooms around and some really thick bacon or prosciutto. Like we've done different things each year, but that's always the meal. Usually Mom and Dad come over, and then we go to our Christmas Eve church service, which is a candle lighting ceremony, which I love. I mean, our church is pretty big. It's a big sanctuary, and to see that the lights go out and then one candle light up that whole place with a whole lot of candles, that part's so beautiful. And then when the kids were really little on Christmas morning, we kind of followed the same tradition as Mom and Dad when we were little, was that no matter how early you wake up, you have to stay in your room. And you can't come down or come out until you hear the Christmas music playing. Because that just gives Mom and Dad time to put the coffee on.
That's right, wake up.
The bacon, put some eggs on, make sure everything's settled. So I always love that with the kids. Is the music playing yet? Can you play the music?
Yeah, right. One of the other things that I would love to do too is on the night before Christmas, I would read "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," and I would sit in my chair. I'd kind of set it up like this with a big fire, and I'd sit in my chair, and I had a pipe, and I put a pipe in my teeth. This doesn't surprise you?
No.
You know, I know. I just might as well have goober written across my forehead.
Totally.
And I got a pipe in my teeth, and I sit there and I have all the kids gather around, sit, in a little circle, and I'd read for them. "'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse." And but they still want me to read it.
Yeah.
They still want me to read it.
I want to hear you read it.
And then the Christmas dinner at the house. where we would all gather as a family and we would sing our Christmas carols.
Yeah.
And Carol would come out, and Mom and Frank and everybody would just sing at the top of their voices.
Yeah.
And we'd hark the herald angels sing. It was great.
Yeah. So good.
Love it. I mean, we have our Christmas memories as children, but as parents, there's something really special about Christmas.
Yeah, it's so different to see it through the eyes of a parent. And, you know, of course, the first thing that the kids are always excited about are the gifts they're going to get. And you want to surprise them in that way. And, you know, I have some really great memories with our kids. You know, when they were really young, it used to be, you know, running down the stairs and like everyone just going for presents. And that happened one year. And then I was like, okay, no, we're sitting in a circle. Everyone, you know, someone will pass a present to someone else that has your name on it. And we're going to open these individually, one by one. Everyone gets the attention. Like, let's slow this whole thing down and appreciate it. I remember one year we surprised the kids and we each gave them a gift and we said, open it up at the same time. And so they did. Natasha opened up a lei. Like a flower lei. A flower lei. Lev opened up a coconut, and Max opened up a little ukulele. And they were like, what's going on? And we went, we're going to Hawaii tonight. And they were like, ah! Oh, like never, like that. I mean, that was pretty extravagant, but like that was such a fun surprise as a parent to be able to give them. And they were so excited. But you know, some of the little things, just to see the excitement on their faces. But you know, we always start off though, because the presents are really fun, especially when they're little, because their eyes just get this big, you know. But we always just made sure that we started off reading the Bible too. It's always been important to me to have my kids know the reason we celebrate Christmas.
What are some of the things that you're most thankful for?
I'm so appreciative of my friendships, and I mean true friendships. All the people in my life, I'm so grateful for them, and the people who speak encouragement into me and pray for our family and support us in all different ways. It just, you know, the older you get and you realize you can pretty much count your close friends, you know, on your two hands. And man, I love them so much. And it's like through thick and thin, you know who those people are.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, that resonates with me too. True blue friends are hard to find. I think if you can go through life and say that, even if you could say you have one true friend, that you're very, very fortunate. And I'm also thinking about how just thankful I am for our kids, and we hope to have grandbabies sometime soon. Now that our kids are getting older, a couple of them are married, and we are really excited about grandbabies. I
want them too. I don't have any married kids yet, though. I got to wait a little longer.
Yeah, well, it gets really exciting. And, you know, one of the gifts that I told my kids that I want them to give me is 1 year without grandbabies. Because, I'll explain. Okay. I'll explain. I got my girlfriend all to myself for like 6 years. Then we started a family, and this little man comes into our life, our son Jack, who just, you know, hijacks my wife's love completely with her whole heart. And then we had 5 more kids after that. And so it's been all kids, all babies, all the time. And I'm like, you know what? When all of you move out of the house and you get married, I want you to give me 1 year without grandbabies so that I can have my girlfriend back again. We can travel, we can do stuff. Because once the grandbabies come, I'm going to lose her to the grandbabies.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah.
I know that for sure.
Yeah.
That's a good Christmas wish, Kirk.